Hi, everyone. This is Lacey Henderson here. I'm the Director of Career Services and Professional Development for the Jonsson School. We are so excited to have Rahul here with us today from Adobe. And let's just go ahead and get right started. Rahul, give us a little bit about yourself and describe your background.
Yeah, thanks, Lacey, for inviting me. My name is Rahul Singh. I'm a data science manager at Adobe, and I'm based out of San Jose, California. So I actually did a master's in from UT Dallas, and I graduated in December of 2018. So in Adobe, I'm part of this data science group within the Adobe Experience Cloud business, and as a group, we focus on using machine learning and advanced analytics to understand how our customers are using our products, and then use that data and insights to help improve product experiences. I'm personally very much interested in this whole area of applying data in meaningful ways to understand and shape decisions and deliver product value.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all about me.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for being here. We always like to have some industry partners and people that have actually worked in industry, but you also know what it's like to be a student and
Yeah.
specifically at UT Dallas. So we're so glad you're here. So why did you choose to go into data science? Like, what was that trajectory like?
Yeah, I think to answer this question, we probably have to rewind like 10 years. So I think the my interest in data and analytics actually developed around 2015, 2016, and back then I was working in brand and digital marketing, and but I could see that data is powerful and it can be used to shape decisions across your teams or the company and inform long-term strategy. So that's where some of that interest started kind of coming up, and then I decided to do a pivot, and I decided to come to UT Dallas to do my master's and to kind of formally transition or try to transition in this field. And coming from a marketing and branding background, I think obviously the degree and the program helped me kind of at least start with like the foundational knowledge and the
Yeah.
technical grounding to kind of break into this field. But I think a big moment that happened afterwards was I got an internship with Adobe, and getting into a company, a big tech company like Adobe, kind of helped me even better understand how powerful data is and how important data-driven decisions and insights are, and how real teams and real product teams are using it to inform decisions. And I think, yeah, I've been in this field for like a long time now, and I am definitely motivated by the ability to solve like meaningful problems using data, and also it's gratifying and it's interesting to see how you can come up with insights and recommendations which are anchored in real data, be it customer data, usage data, and then how it can eventually drive some sort of an impact. And in the last 2 years, I've been like very much excited about this field, in particular how it's evolving with all the changes in the AI landscape and all of that, and how it's evolving and kind of finding a new form. So excited about that
Yeah.
aspect as well, and kind of learning and growing along the way.
I know, I can't wait. We'll definitely dive in a little bit more to the AI aspect because I know that that has changed so much in the past couple of years.
Hmm.
What does your day-to-day look like? That, like, if you were to describe to someone what a data scientist does, what does that look like?
Yeah. So as a data science manager, my days might be a slightly different from like a data scientist, but I think a large part of my time kind of goes into coordinating and kind of driving work across my team and other data scientists in the team. So, which could include things like brainstorming ideas and solutions with them, reviewing the progress that have made on the analysis, discussing methodologies, and kind of trying to remove any blockers they might have along the way. I usually try to be I give my team a little more independence in terms of how they kind of work and how they drive things, but
Mhm.
I'm available whenever they need me. So that's kind of one part which takes up my day. The other part is definitely meetings. A lot of
Mhm.
meetings across like either stakeholders, talking about new opportunities, project updates, cross-functional discussions across, let's say, data science, engineering, and a lot of conversations with other leaders in my team to discuss, let's say, the strategy or things that we should prioritize. But one thing that I try to do as a manager as well is try to set aside some time to like do some focused and deep work. So if there's a new problem that or an opportunity that has come up, would definitely like to spend some time kind of going into the data, trying to kind of figure out some potential kind of angles to look into it, trying to test some opportunities, and remaining hands-on as a manager is a little difficult at times, but I think this is where kind of Gen AI is super helpful to me because coding assistants like Cursor and stuff like that, I can use them to kind of get up and running pretty quickly, and it can actually accelerate my exploration or idea generation or things that I'm trying to do. But yeah, I think this is what I would typically do in a day, and depending on the day of the week, things might obviously be different. But I think one thing that I've done differently in the past, I would say 2.5 years, is I've been trying to regularly also block some time to learn on the side because
That's great.
it's the field is like changing so much, and there's just new technologies, new models, advancements that's happening. So that is one thing I try to do every week, just set aside some time to reading and also kind of exploring some things on the side.
Yeah, that's great. And you sound like a really good multitasker.
I try to.
And it sounds like you do a lot of communication and collaboration, which is important, especially for leaders. So
Hmm.
great job there. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit on the industry trends. What are you seeing in today's market that students really need to know about to be successful?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, and this is my take on it. But obviously, there's like so much happening that I don't think any individual can kind of summarize it. But
That's true.
I think, yeah, I feel that the tech and the data science landscape in general has changed dramatically in the last, I would say, 2.5 years. And the interesting thing is that the pace of innovation just kind of keeps accelerating, right? There's things coming out every day, and there's talks about, okay, how this will change the job landscape and all of that. I think, but I feel that if I zoom out a little bit, I feel that students should be able to distinguish between foundational skills that uh, kind of are essential to their degree or what they want to do, and also newer areas where they think AI can augment their capabilities. So having this differentiation helps. So when I talk about foundational skills, we should think about like some core differentiators, right? Such as problem solving, being comfortable with ambiguity, right? Being strong in communication, having a good product sense, being able to work cross-functionally across stakeholders.
Hmm.
So these will be like foundation and like core differentiators, which I think it will be very hard for AI to automate.
Right.
But when it comes to coding or like data science fundamentals, they're also having some foundational knowledge is important because coding eventually teaches you how to be a better logical thinker, how to be a better somebody who can reason really well. So even though
Hmm.
coding assistants can accelerate, um, let's say, some skeleton code and some basic setup and some basic kind of task, I think just having that foundational knowledge in coding alongside with these soft skills is very important. Now,
Hmm.
when it comes to the things that AI can let's say automate or help you out with, I think identifying those things are equally important. So like being able to know, okay, what are like some of the repetitive things that I can do with AI. Like for example, as a data scientist, if you are working on a model, there's like multiple stages in that, right? So you could think of like some operational tasks like early stage data cleaning, right? Or like early stage exploration or like some boilerplate modeling. So some of these things you can augment and like accelerate with AI. So I think
Hmm.
as so to summarize, I think it's all about kind of identifying the core foundational competencies and building and developing those, and then
Hmm.
using AI to kind of accelerate execution, and then eventually integrating both to kind of create a differentiated kind of edge or path for yourself.
I think that's really smart, because you want to be able to use these tools, but not lean on them so much that you
Exactly.
don't also understand what's going on. So
Exactly.
really, really good advice there. So the next kind of topic I wanted to discuss was, outside of students getting their degrees, what should they be doing, right now to try to stand out from their competition?
Yeah. I think it all boils down to building like a well-rounded personal brand for
Mhm.
yourself, and different people kind of define like a personal brand or in different ways. But I think about it in the following ways, right? First, I think you should be comfortable kind of putting yourself out there and, let's say, sharing what you are learning, what you are building, what you are thinking about, your experiences. I think putting yourself out there in front of others, I think it helps you a process ideas better, and also B helps you show how you are thinking, right? What is your reasoning process and what is your kind of critical thinking process? And then maybe start looking for opportunities. And when I say opportunities, ideally, if it's like real opportunities, the better. So it could be, let's say, a local nonprofit or a local startup, right? Or maybe something in your in the campus where they need help. But like finding even small real opportunities where you can apply your skills and kind of drive some sort of an impact is very, very helpful, because that then helps you link your technical skills, your thought process, thinking, problem solving skills with real problems.
Mhm.
But if real opportunities are hard to kind of come by, I think looking for like hackathons, like case study competitions, all of these things are like happening like at a crazy pace everywhere. So start
Right,
looking out for those opportunities as well, because a lot of times case study competitions can also be like real problems.
right.
So I think this can help you like create like a well-rounded portfolio of yourself, right? Where you not
That.
just share what you're doing, but also try to apply what you're learning in through real problems.
Mhm.
And a lot of people rely on LinkedIn to do some of this as well, right? So if that is a platform that you feel comfortable with, or you want to kind of showcase some of those your learnings and what you are kind of experimenting and trying out on the side, that can also help. For me personally, in 2025, one goal for myself was like, okay, I should try to be a little more active and share what I'm like working with, what I'm playing around with, and what I've experienced so far.
Yeah.
And I've been amazed how sitting and writing helps. Just not just
Wow.
process what you have learned and what you're thinking, but also helps you solidify some of those things, right? And I
Yeah.
would say there's a tools to help you and tools to kind of accelerate this as well. But as long as you are focused on being like, let's say, authentic and being genuinely wanting to kind of share some of these things, I think that's another avenue that a lot of folks explore. So yeah,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's all about kind of putting yourself out there, kind of working on real problems where you can get some actual experience, and creating like this well-rounded portfolio of yourself, right? Which is not just purely academic projects, but something a little more than that, right?
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, you're giving such great nuggets here, because what I'm hearing you say is not only building your portfolio, but enhancing those skills. Because the more you practice them, the better
Exactly.
you also get, right? So yes, we're trying to add things to your LinkedIn or to your resume, but also the more you practice, it's not really perfect, but you'll get progress, right?
Yeah.
So really good. So you mentioned LinkedIn. Let's talk about that a little bit. How important is LinkedIn nowadays?
I think it depends on who you ask, but I am like somebody who has been like active on the platform for like a close to a year plus. I think it's helpful to a certain degree, but obviously I think we have to go in acknowledging that there's with AI there's just a lot of content right now. Everybody has the skills and tools to create content and media, which is not a bad thing, right? But it gives people the access to kind of do a lot of these things. But I think if you are trying to create some sort of a brand there, or if you are trying to create some sort of a niche for yourself, I think you have to first know where your real interests are, and then kind of try to share some content or some of these things which genuinely kind of reflects those interests, right? Now,
Right.
LinkedIn, because that has helped me quite a bit, right? Like my goal is not to like be this person who writes every day, because that's not sustainable for me personally. But I try to kind of, if I'm seeing something interesting, or if I observed something at work, or if there's a learning that I feel is worth sharing, I just go ahead and share it without really thinking about, okay, how many likes it'll get or how many
Right.
comments it'll get, right? I think so. I think if you are coming from a genuine place and you genuinely want to share what you have learned, or if you want to share those things and want them to resonate with others, I think that helps quite a bit. Now, when it comes to networking, I think, yeah, LinkedIn is obviously, everybody is on LinkedIn, right? So
Right.
networking can go both ways. If you just take this um, generic route where just you are shooting emails and messages to everybody, I would say that it's very hard for people to kind of accept those, right? For example,
Right.
if somebody messages me and they want to connect and I really don't know them, it's very hard for me to kind of connect with them instantly, right?
Yeah.
But creating, like, if you are active and you're writing and you're sharing those things, I think that also helps kind of break that ice wall and helps people resonate a little bit more. So I think that can translate into some long term kind of relationships, and kind of help you network along the way as well. So yeah, I think long story short, it's helpful. The platform has evolved quite a bit in the last
Mhm.
few years with this content influx. But if you want to share, if you want to kind of be out there, I think still I would say it's a decent platform, and I recommend. I think back and I feel that, okay, maybe I should have started doing this earlier.
Yeah. I've thought that too. Yeah. And I think you're right. It's not, again, you can't just lean on LinkedIn to do all of
Exactly.
your networking. You still kind of have to maybe make some personal connections and put yourself out there. And I like what you're talking about with, the content. It's not a full-blown strategy of what you're trying to do, but just utilizing the platform to your liking and,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's great. Okay, so let's go into our success tips. So like a lot of students are looking for work either specifically with a company like Adobe or looking for work in your field, like being a data scientist. What are your top 3 tips for entering this job market?
Yeah, I think a lot of when I was thinking about this, it was interesting because a lot of the things that I'll probably share now is some things that are still being like core to a data scientist like 5 or 10 years back. I think it's just that some of these things have evolved quite a bit. So I think the first one is, if I'm looking to hire somebody, the first thing that I want to look is, okay, how um, deep they are when it comes to their technical skills, or how good they are, right? So technical skills are like a no negotiating kind of area, right? So be it things like Python, statistics, SQL, foundational ML concepts, whatever is your field, I think the list might vary a little bit, but I think having like a strong technical foundation is very, very important. And I would say that there's so much you can do, right, when it comes to technical fundamentals and building a foundation. So I would say that focus on 3 to 4 areas rather than trying to like spread yourself thin and kind of cover everything, because I honestly don't really, most people don't really care if you can list down 10 languages or like 10 methods, right? But if you can like list two and show like some real project or like some interesting work and impact, those two will any day be a lot more valuable than just showing 10 shallow. So it's not a numbers game most of the times, right? And yeah, going back to the projects, I think it's very important to then link the technical skills with some sort of a project. And what I was just saying earlier, like if you get an opportunity to work with an organization, startup, or whatever that is, right, I think that definitely helps a lot. But in resumes, a big gap that I see a lot of times is people just list down the method or the model or the algorithm that they did, and without really giving some context on the problem or the impact that they created, right? So I think in the smart framework of writing projects is has been there for like decades and is still relevant, right? Because it helps you articulate the problem that you solved, what you built and how you solved it, and then eventually what the outcome was, right? So yeah, so the first category I would say is like technical foundations, and fundamentals, and kind of showing the impact and projects around that. The second I would say is developing a very strong problem solving and critical thinking mindset, because when you go to a real company, it's rare that the problems that you solve are well defined, right? So ambiguity is like a norm in every company, big or small. So students must learn how to work around ambiguity, right? The kind of questions they want to ask, or how do they co-design and co-define problems with stakeholders, right? Working with incomplete information is like so important, because perfect information or complete information is very rare to come by. So how do you work with like limited information? What assumptions do you make, right? So that, so eventually the ability to kind of mark and map these business questions to analytical or machine learning solutions will be like a big differentiator. And it all boils down to, do you have like strong reasoning skills? Can you think in a structured manner, right? So this is, I would say, this is as important as having like a good technical foundation. And I think the third one, specifically for data scientists and analysts, is storytelling and communication, right? So
That's good.
your work will involve multiple people. It will involve like people who are like non-technical. So can you translate and distill down technical findings into clear, actionable recommendations? Because once you do that, you move a step closer to driving impact, right? And I would say this this does not work in a silo. You have to be genuinely interested with the problem. You have to be genuinely interested with the product or the business, right? And you have to be very, very keen to kind of actually drive an impact, and not be one of those people who are like, okay, I finished the project, I forget about it, right? So yeah, storytelling for me is like the bridge between like technical rigor and business influence. So yeah, so I think these will be my top three tips.
That's
Like
great.
build and demonstrate strong technical foundations, develop strong problem solving and critical thinking mindset, and finally strengthen your like storytelling and communication skills to drive impact.
That's perfect. I love those three. I think you're right on the mark, especially with any job probably in technology these days.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're really covering it there. Okay, anything else that students should be doing? Kind of our last topic, preparing for the workplace. Anything else that you can think of that we haven't discussed?
Yeah, I think I covered like quite a lot of things that I would have done, I think. But
Yeah,
I do want to acknowledge that the job market is like significantly more competitive.
yeah,
So relying on like generic or cookie cutter kind of work or resumes is unfortunately not going to work out. So you have to figure out what differentiates you. So, and I all kind of goes back to finding things that you are interested in, right? And building depth in those areas, and trying to kind of put yourself out there, talk about it, work on meaningful kind of projects, like going to like conferences, like meeting more
hmm
people, right? And I think also leveraging the community around you, like other fellow students. I think everybody is in it together. So I think it helps to kind of create a community and kind of connect with people around you, and like deal with this together, because a lot of these nice projects kind of come out when like four people, five people kind of sit together and kind of solve something, right? So
yeah,
another thing that I would say, which I did not cover earlier, is companies are also under a lot of pressure to kind of move fast, and
this is
so
true.
so as a candidate, if you can say and show that okay, I can deliver value from day one, that instantly makes you a good candidate. So, and this all boils down to the things that we talked about, right? Can you demonstrate technical skills in an impactful way? Are you good with problem solving? Are you good with communication? So if you show some of these things in your interview or a resume or your portfolio, that signals readiness, right? And it shows that I'm ready to kind of contribute from day one. And I would say that using AI tools is necessary, but I would also advise people to not use them but blindly,
Yeah,
because with the tools that we have, you can literally apply to hundreds of jobs in like 1 minute, right? It'll tailor your resume, it'll just shoot like an application, but those things are easy to detect. Like anybody can see generic application, they'll be like, okay, this is
yep,
definitely created by an AI. So it all boils down to being focused, right? I think focus on the actual in jobs or roles that you do feel you are like a strong fit with, and then focus on those kind of areas rather than just blindly applying, because if you blindly apply, two things happen, right? First, you probably do not get a lot of response back, and second, you get probably frustrated and burnt
Defeated.
out,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty quickly, right? So I would say that, yeah, I think using AI tools is very, very important, but I think be a little intentional, be a little thoughtful in how you are using it, because that is also something that will eventually help you become successful and kind of differentiate you from others.
Yeah, I totally agree with the intentionality. And I also agree that the tools are very helpful, but using them blindly and not trying to stay focused on maybe even one job or one company at a time. So really, really good advice there. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it. I know the students really appreciate it, and I know you're a busy, busy man. So we appreciate your time and your effort and all of your advice. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for the opportunity. Always good to be back and connect with others.